All right, lots going on in terms of the political churn right before seat-sharing alliances are completely made in terms of number of seats expected any day now, both from the NDA and the Mahagathbandhan alliance. Let's break it down. Joining me, Dr. Manisha Priyam, political analyst, Pankaj Jha, political editor, Lallan Top, Rashid Kidwai, author, political commentator, Ashok Kumar Upadhyay, executive editor in the studio with me, and joining us shortly will be Mr. Amitabh Tiwari, political strategist and commentator. Manisha Priyam, let's begin with you. Which alliance are you watching closely? Do you suspect there will be any disruptions, or like we discussed yesterday, mostly all but posturing?
Preeti, I do think there's a lot more happening than what I said yesterday, and never underestimate the Bihari for their political instincts. And what we can see on the NDA side now is actually a very intricate game of politicking and a direct impact of the Prashant Kishor phenomena. You can see that both the leaders who are posturing for more seats are actually very minor players, all three of them. Upender, Khuswaha, not known for electoral victories, could not ensure his own victory, and not a big Khuswaha leader, but very important for the BJP right now, because Samrat Chaudhary, their deputy chief minister, is a Khuswaha leader, and the BJP had hoped that he would be able to get in that Khuswaha vote with him. But with Samrat Chaudhary in the corner, Upender Khuswaha becomes very important for the BJP as an ally. On the other side, you can see Chirag Paswan. Now, his posturing basically means that he's sending out a message to his voters that, look, I can bargain hard. But what is the fact? The fact really is that Chirag Paswan could not turn his legacy of being the son of Ramvilas Paswan into a political fortune for himself until the BJP came and said, okay, we are here to support you. So Chirag Paswan largely a front for posturing, but very important right now, because that card within the BJP-JDU alliance held by Ashok Chaudhary is also being put on the mat by Prashant Kishor. So now the posturing of Chirag Paswan will signal back to the poorest of the poor that we, the leaders of the Pichhada Jatis, Chirag Paswan and Jitan Ram Manjhi, we are championing your cause in the big house of the BJP. So the BJP playing a last-minute politics of the Pichhadas by their leaders. This is very important. Of course, I know all is well within the BJP, but this means, therefore, that we will see a lot of public display of assertions by all these three leaders to fill in the gap.
There's hardly any time now left, Manisha Priyam, for assertions. One quick point also before we go on to the other guests. So, still think what's coming in from the LJP, murmurs of Jan Suraj, alliances, all of that is all plain posturing. This is Chirag Paswan trying to maneuver as many seats as he can.
Yes, and this will all augur well for the BJP and the JDU alliance and the NDA. I'm more worried on the other side as to how the Mahagathbandhan will stitch it up. Tejasvi has more seats, but not the political stature to be able to negotiate either with the VIP or with the Congress party or with the CPI-ML. And one has to see how those negotiations are stitched up in the absence of a big leader who can stitch it all up together. Of course, in all terms, the BJP and the JDU are far more poised to put all this together. So I would be more worried, just like yesterday, as I said, about the MGB.
All right, let's figure out what's going on within the MGB. Rashid Kidwai, who better to ask but you? It does seem the Congress still now ruing the fact that the last election, they were given 70 seats. Most of them they claim were unwinnable. That's why their lot turned to just 19. This time they want winnable seats. What's going on within that camp?
Yeah, so I think, Preeti, you're right. Last election, Congress proved to be a kamzor kadi, and that is where I think there is a lot of pressure on the Congress to set its house in order. But remember, that Lalu Yadav is keeping, quiet, so he is not very active or proactive in getting, sort of, consensus building or bringing various factions together, or having a say in the ticket distribution, etc. So that has really complicated. And from the Congress side also, Preeti, this time it's very technology-driven kind of campaign, in the sense that the Krishna Aladu, who's a Congress General Secretary in charge, he is leaning a lot on the kind of, what we call it, Raniti card, what the poll strategy is saying, what the surveys are saying. So there's a lot of fight going on behind the scene in whose survey, who's coming at, number one, number two, number three. So that is a kind of internal tussle is going on. But I think the Congress understands from last time that, let's not, bite what we cannot chew.
Is
so
the Congress being over ambitious, Rashid Kidwai? Because there's a huge chunk of the Congress that feels that there is a revival or sorts, or they believe that there is a revival of the party post the Vote Adhikar Yatra rally of Rahul Gandhi.
I think Preeti, somewhere we in the media, we also create this hype. Actually, the Congress, the reverse is true, because Congress knows that last time they could not live up to the expectations, so they are far more realistic. But in terms of when cameras come, then they talk something very different, and they talk about the hype and the kind of thing that Rahul Gandhi is able to.
But as long as they're clued into reality, that's all that matters when the seat distribution happens. But Rashid, stay with me. I want to bring in two people who know Bihar very, very well. I have Ashok Kumar Upadhyay, who the executive editor of India Today, and like we pointed out with Rohit, knows a thing or two more about Bihar than most of us. Ashok ji, सबसे closely किसको watch कर रहे हैं? कौन posturing कर रहा है? कौन टूट सकता है इस पूरे सीट शेयरिंग अलायंस?
पिछले बार जब आपको याद होगा, जब पिछली बार सीट शेयरिंग हो रहा था, अलायंस अनाउंस हुआ, उस समय वीआईपी का नाम महागठबंधन में नहीं था, तो वीआईपी उस समय मतलब लास्ट मोमेंट पे छोड़ के चला गया महागठबंधन से एनडीए की तरफ। तो अभी भी कोई भी पार्टी किसी की तरफ जा सकता है, सब अपना हार्ड बार्गेनिंग कर रहे हैं, लेकिन जो अभी की स्थिति दिख रही है उसमें वीआईपी, जो कि रोज़ न्यूज़ में आ रहा है, रोज़ स्पेकुलेशन हो रहा है कि एनडीए के टच में है, और चिराग पासवान, जिनके बारे में कल खबर आई थी कि वो जनस्वराज के टच में।
आपको लगता है कि चिराग पासवान जनस्वराज जा सकते हैं?
अब पता नहीं, जा भी सकते हैं, क्योंकि
मनीषा प्रेम कह रही है सिर्फ पोस्चरिंग है, रहेंगे बीजेपी के साथ।
हो सकता है पोस्टरिंग है, लेकिन आज प्रशांत किशोर ने खुद बोला कि हम किसी से अलायंस नहीं करने जा रहे हैं, हम सारे सीट पे लड़ने जा रहे हैं। तो हो सकता है प्रशांत किशोर भी पोस्टरिंग कर रहे हो।
संजय झा, पॉलिटिकल एडिटर ललन टॉप, संजय जी कैसे देखते हैं जो अभी की स्थिति है?
देखिए, मुझे लगता है इसमें दोनों तरफ कोई झंझट नहीं है। बिहार में कहावत है ना कि जब रसगुल्ला मांगते हैं तो आपको बतासा मिलता है। बतासा एक चीनी की मिठाई होती है, आजकल तो लोग खाते नहीं है। वही हाल है जब चुनाव से पहले इसी तरीके सब अपनी अपनी बात कहते हैं। चिराग पासवान का केस थोड़ा सा इंटरेस्टिंग है। इंटरेस्टिंग इसीलिए है कि लोकसभा चुनाव में आपको याद होगा प्रधानमंत्री मोदी की एक सभा थी बिहार में, उस सभा में चिराग नहीं गए। उन्होंने 5 सीटें मांग ली, जबकि उनके पास कुछ नहीं था, मतलब उस तरीके से देखें तो उनको लगता है इस बार भी ऐसा हो जाएगा। वो गुड कॉप बैड कॉप वाली काम कर रहे हैं, थ्योरी पर खेल रहे हैं, खुद कुछ नहीं बोलते हैं, पोस्टरिंग करते हैं। उनके लोग यानी उनकी पार्टी के सांसद अरुण भारती, दूसरे लोग कहते हैं कि भाई सुनहरी बाग में उनका मंत्री वाला घर है, वो भी नहीं गए, उनके पास विकल्प खुला हुआ है, पिछली बार भी अकेले लड़े थे, इस बार भी लड़े, कहीं नहीं जाएंगे। मोदी जी के जो हनुमान हैं वो वहीं बने रहेंगे। हाँ, इस चक्कर में 1-2 सीटें उनकी बढ़ जाएंगी। असली जो प्रॉब्लम है ना दोनों गठबंधन में, वो महागठबंधन हो या फिर एनडीए है, उसमें कुछ ऐसी सीटें हैं, कांग्रेस ऐसी सीटें मांग रही है जहाँ पर आरजेडी का सिटिंग मेंबर है, वैसे ही चिराग पासवान कुछ ऐसी सीटें मांग रहे हैं जहाँ पर कि बीजेपी और जेडीयू की है। आपने इस बार देखा बीजेपी जेडीयू में कोई झगड़ा है? कहीं कोई खटपट नहीं है। बीजेपी अपने अलायंस पार्टनर से बात कर ले, सबसे बात हो जाएगी। उपेंद्र कुशवाहा ने तो सीटों की डिमांड भी पब्लिक नहीं की है। वो कहते हैं ना, बंद मुट्ठी लाख की खुल गई तो खाक की। तो मुझे लगता है कि ये 2-3 दिनों में सारी चीज़ें निपट जाएंगी। बड़े लोग आएंगे बीच में, सीन में अमित शाह होंगे। उधर महागठबंधन में भी कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है, मुकेश सहनी को भी पता है, वहाँ से भी इसी तरीके की चीज़ें खबरें बताई जाती हैं कि एनडीए में भी उनके तार जुड़े हुए हैं। ऐसा नहीं है, इस बार उनके लिए डोर बंद है। हालांकि राजनीति में किसी संभावना को खारिज नहीं करते हैं, लेकिन वो बने रहेंगे महागठबंधन में। पोस्टरिंग हो रही है, और गठबंधन की एक बैठक में आरजेडी की तरफ से एक ऐसी बात कह दी गई थी मुकेश सहनी को लेकर, इस बात से थोड़े से भड़के हुए हैं, और कोई बात ऐसी है नहीं।
So net, all of this is just posturing. What we see, nothing's really going to happen. Alliances are going to move exactly the way they are firming up. But one file in common from all 4 of you, we're also going to bring in Amitabh Tiwari, who's going to join us in just about a few minutes, who's conducted an all-new survey, in terms of numbers on what's happening on ground. But Manisha Priyam, let me put you on the spot on this. If these are the alliances, and if seat sharing goes according to plan, according to whatever the formula they follow, who do you think has the edge going into an election less than a month away?
I definitely feel the NDA has the edge as far as elections are concerned. I just want to put one more option on the tray, sweetmeats tray. that Sanjay ji has very kindly portrayed to you. He's spoken to you about the batasha and gulab jamun, etc. There is one other mithai that Sanjay ji may have been too young, but used to happen in Bihar when I was a child. It's called the hawa mithai. When you just blow up sugar and you turn it into a candy of sorts, and people would put it around a bamboo stick and walk around saying mithai hai, and we would get it for 10 paisa, it would just melt into your mouth. So I think the posturing is more of a hawa mithai, except what I see on the Mahagathbandhan side, where I know that there are genuine demands on Tejaswi. And of course, there is some amount of what Sanjay ji and others will appreciate, the word called Bad Bolapan. And that's something the main keystone of the MGB, the RJD has to keep in check. Much of it has been witnessed in the past. So I'd be more worried on that side. On this side, Hanumanji, Batasha, Hawa Mithai, and Gulab Jamun all will work together. And the JDU and the BJP have a perfect coordination.
All right, Rashid Kidwai, arithmetically, if you look at it, if you look at caste combinations, if you look at alliances, everyone seems to suggest that the NDA is, they have a lead, even right in the beginning. Is there an understanding of that, where the Mahagathbandhan is concerned? Because a lot of people who've come back from Bihar also seem to suggest that kind of pull or chemistry one talks about. Let's say arithmetic lies with the NDA. But the chemistry which possibly Tejaswi had in 2020 is missing this time.
Not ready. I think, Preeti, every election is new, and if you look at all surveys, they are projecting Tejaswi as a most popular chief minister. Look at that Sea Water survey that puts the gap between Rahul Gandhi and Prime Minister Narendra Modi in the context of Bihar is becoming very close. It's 51%, 41%. So all these things are there. I think the key point is Congress, which was a weak link in 2020. They have done a lot of hard work, and this time they are trying to instead of upper caste thrust, they are trying to get the ati pichhda caste, some of the JDU caste combination that is there. Whether they'll succeed or not, remember the Congress has changed its PCC chief also, who comes from ati pichhda. So they are making a very serious bid. Whether this gamble will play or not, we'll get to know. I think the Congress performance is key to this election. If they do well and there is a collapse on the part of JDU, we'll have something very stunning on this 14th of November.
All right, well, that is what a lot of, it's really interesting because in Bihar, usually what has been anticipated or predicted, what happens is completely the opposite. Bihar is a classic state that has given stunning, election results. But okay, we've been joined by Amitabh Tiwari in the final leg of this debate. But Amitabh Tiwari, you've joined us at a time where we're discussing what is the arsenal or the chinks in the armor of either side of the alliance.
No, see, especially if you see Mahagathbandhan, they are still suffering from the structural weaknesses which they have, correct? So their ability to expand the vote base beyond the MY combination, their ability to add EBC and or Dalit votes into their bouquet, that is one of the challenges. The alleged stigma of Jungle Raj, of the fear factor, which still resonates with the, you can say, 35 plus age category senior citizens, especially the upper caste and the non-Yadav OBC voters. These are two of the weaknesses of Mahagathbandhan. In terms of the NDA, the popularity of Nitish, of course, has declined in the third and fourth term because he has been seeing largely making attempts to save his chair, moving from NDA to Mahagathbandhan and then coming back. However, he still retains that 12 to 15% core vote block. So I think in NDA, the larger issues are risk of transfer of votes because there is distrust between JDU and LJP. There is also likely to be a tussle between the supporters of BJP and JDU because the BJP supporters want to have their own chief minister post the elections. And some of the BJP supporters are not very happy as to why Nitish Kumar's party, which has almost half the seats of BJP, is getting the same number of seats or might even get up one seat more than the BJP. And the BJP still is continuing with Nitish Kumar as the CM face. So there is a section of voter which is not happy with this fact, and they moved to the LJP in 2020 because the vote transfer was 75% from JDU to BJP, but it was only 55% from BJP to JDU. 20% moved to LJP. Now these guys have Prashant Kishor in a way as an option. So how much damage does Prashant Kishor give to JDU in this election? Can he play the role of Chirag Paswan in 2020? Because the ability of NDA to win precisely depends upon how better JDU does. Because the JDU will need to win at least 50 seats for the NDA to win this election. So there are, I mean, wheels within
Right.
both the partners, and the EBC outreach also, I think, of the Mahagathbandhan or the Congress is too little, too late, because it's all about representation, and the Mahagathbandhan has not been giving a lot of tickets
Right.
to the community. That there is a distrust between EBC and the Yadav community there. That also needs to be bridged.
Well, interesting analysis at one end where the Mahagathbandhan is concerned. You had Rashid Kidwai, who clearly said it's the Congress that needs to perform here. The JDU needs to perform, and ultimately it will also depend on how the Suraj performs. And that will have an impact on how the Mahagathbandhan and the NDA perform. So it's a tight web there. But Ashok ji and Pankaj ji, to bring you both back into this conversation, kaun aage, kaun piche. But Ashok ji, one thing is clear, agar aap dekhein, it is Bihar, which has always been unpredictable.
पिछले चुनाव में आपको याद होगा कि दोनों गठबंधन के बीच जो वोटों का डिफरेंस था 12,768 वोट था। तो एक एक वोट इम्पॉर्टेंट है, एक एक पार्टी इम्पॉर्टेंट है। इसीलिए अगर हर दिन वीआईपी के जो नेता हैं बोल रहे हैं कि हमको डिप्टी चीफ मिनिस्टर पोस्ट चाहिए, और आरजेडी वाले हालांकि मना कर रहे हैं, लेकिन वो एक रिपोर्ट के अनुसार 3 महीने में 27 बार बोले कि हमको डिप्टी चीफ मिनिस्टर का पोस्ट चाहिए। तो वो उनका हर किसी का टेंट्रम हर किसी को सहना इसलिए पड़ रहा है कि एक एक वोट इम्पॉर्टेंट है, और सबको पता है कि अगर वीआईपी छोड़ के जाएगा तो उनके साथ जो निषाद वोट है, जो केवट वोट है, लगभग 3-4% वोट है, वो छिटक जाएगा। तो हर कोई ऐड करना चाह रहा है। वो 12,700 का जो पिछली बार का आंकड़ा है, उसको सब ध्यान में रख के सारा अलायंस हो रहा है, सारा उसी पे खेल हो रहा है।
52 seats, viewers. Last time there were 52 seats where the winning margin was less than 5,000. So, one can well imagine how close the contest could really come in. पर संजय जी, कौन आगे कौन पीछे, क्या लग रहा है अभी?
प्रदीप, 2 चीज़ें बड़ी इंटरेस्टिंग है। एक तो प्रशांत किशोर की एंट्री हुई है, और उसके बारे में कुछ पता नहीं कि क्या करेंगे और कितना % वोट शेयर आएगा, किसका डेंट करेंगे। लार्जली जो हम बिहार गए, लोगों से बातचीत की, तो पता लग रहा है कि वो एनडीए को कहीं ना कहीं डेंट कर रहे हैं लार्जली। अब एनडीए को कितना डेंट होगा, लेकिन पिछले कई सालों के चुनाव को देखिए तो ये मेरा व्यक्तिगत रूप से मानना है, ये आगे पीछे नहीं कह सकते हैं, लेकिन नीतीश कुमार भले ही उनकी उम्र बहुत हो चली है, सेहत ठीक नहीं है, और लोग कह रहे हैं कि उनकी पॉपुलैरिटी कम हुई है, लेकिन वो सबसे बड़े फैक्टर हैं। आज भी महिलाओं में और ईबीसी वोटर में उनकी वही पकड़ बनी हुई है, और मुझे लगता है वो सबसे बड़ा एडवांटेज है वो जिसके साथ रहे।
Pankaj ji, you are saying it is going to be a Nitish Kumar who would possibly decide the fate for the NDA.
पिछले
सही
कई
बात?
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल सही।
और महागठबंधन?
महागठबंधन में देखिए, कांग्रेस पिछली बार बैगेज बन गई थी, सीपीआई-एमएल और सब लोग मिलकर बहुत अच्छा कर रहे हैं। तेजस्वी ने एक बहुत अच्छा काम किया है जिसको ग्राउंड पे लोगों ने नहीं समझा है। अगर वो टिकट बांटने में उस तरीके से कामयाब रहे तो मुझे लगता है जैसे 2024 के लोकसभा चुनाव में यूपी में हुआ, ऐसा हो सकता है। अगर टिकट उन्होंने ये किया कि यादव और मुसलमानों को कम दे करके ईबीसी को, कुशवाहा और दूसरी पिछड़ी जातियों को दे दिया, तो बहुत इंटरेस्टिंग चुनाव हो सकता है।
और जनसुराज इसमें कहाँ आएगा? अशोक जी कुछ बोलना चाह रहे हैं?
जैसे कि ये पंकज जी बोल रहे थे कि लोकसभा चुनाव में तेजस्वी बोल रहे थे कि हम माई बाप करना चाहते हैं। माई के साथ बाप का वो एक नारा दिए थे। बाप मतलब बी से बहुजन, ए से अगड़ा, फिर पी से पिछड़ा, तो सब मिलाकर आधी आबादी एक के लिए था। और उसी तरह अखिलेश ने यूपी में पीडीए का नारा दिया था, तो वो एमवाई में जोड़ पाए थे। उसी तरह का जो एडिशन था अखिलेश नहीं कर पाए थे, कुछ कर पाए थे, जैसे कुशवाहा वोट उनको मिला था सब्सटेंशियली। लेकिन आज एक खबर है कि आरजेडी एमवाई को बढ़ाने के लिए 10 कुशवाहा को और 12 भूमिहार को, या 12 भूमिहार और 10 कुशवाहा को वोट सीट देने जा रही है। तो वो अगर एडिशन करेंगे तभी उनका चांस बनता है, नहीं तो एमवाई प्लस नहीं करेंगे तो दिक्कत होगा।
नहीं होगा। एक कंपोनेंट और चाहिए, जनसुराज। पंकज जी,
मैंने कहा नहीं, जनसुराज का भी स्लेट है ना, वो स्लेट पे कुछ लिखा हुआ नहीं, कोई जानता नहीं है, लेकिन लोगों ने जो मुझे बताया कि एक एग्जाम्पल देकर समझाना चाह रहा हूँ, वो ये है कि मान लीजिए कोई ऐसी सीट है जिस पे आरजेडी ने पिछड़ा दिया और जेडीयू ने पिछड़ा दिया। वहाँ पर अगर प्रशांत किशोर ने कोई फॉरवर्ड कास्ट का कैंडिडेट दे दिया तो वो जेडीयू को डैमेज हो जाएगा। इस हिसाब से वो एनडीए को कई सीटों पे डैमेज कर सकते हैं अगर उनके पास ऐसे मजबूत कैंडिडेट होंगे।
फाइनल वर्ड्स अमिताभ तिवारी, 30 seconds sir and 30 seconds Rashid Kidwai. Amitabh ji, go first sir.
पंकज जी के ही एग्जाम्पल में उसी सीट पे मुस्लिम कैंडिडेट को दे देगा तो क्या होगा? वही हुआ
उल्टा।
वही हुआ था जो बाई पोल्स में होगा। बाई पोल्स पे 90% डैमेज महागठबंधन को हुआ था। सो सबसे बड़ा डैमेज होगा अदर्स को। दूसरा सबसे बड़ा डैमेज उन्होंने ऑलरेडी कर दिया है तेजस्वी यादव को यूथ में उनकी पढ़ाई को लेकर के जो कंसिस्टेंटली किया है, उससे तेजस्वी यादव के ब्रांड या सपोर्ट अमंग्स यूथ डैमेज हुआ है। और तीसरा जो आप कह रहे हैं कि करप्शन का जो मुद्दा उठाया है, उससे बीजेपी एनडीए का जो अपर कास्ट वोटर है उसमें डैमेज होगा। तो एलजेपी ने पिछली बार 40 सीट पे एनडीए को और 32 सीट पे महागठबंधन को नुकसान पहुंचाया था।
30 seconds Rashid Kidwai ji. Final comments sir, then going to close the bulletin. Go ahead sir.
Bihar had a very towering leader, Sitaram Kesri was a Congress president. He used to always say about in such situation कि परिणाम चौंका देने वाले होंगे. So I think let's wait what happens in Bihar next.
All right, well, let's leave it at that. Thank you all for gentlemen for joining us, as well as Manisha Priyamji. She's left us a bit early, but thank you. We're going to keep a keen eye on all developments and your one-stop destination right here on India Today.